Man, I'm going to be honest. I'll be the first one to tell you that when it comes to learning new things, when it comes to educating ourselves on how to be better men, better fathers, better in relationships, better workers. If you're here, you're watching this video, you're probably trying to do something that is beyond your current capacity. You're probably trying to achieve goals that are currently way outside of what you'd be able to accomplish. And you are setting out to do these things, as I am. You have to know right now it's extremely difficult. The formula is simple. The process, the action, the day in and day out, very hard. What am I talking about when I say how to educate ourselves, how to get educated as men? Am I talking about school? I mean, that could be part of it. Nothing wrong with going to college, nothing wrong with going to trade school, nothing wrong with getting certifications, getting more education in that manner. I welcome it. If it's going to help you, it's going to help your family, it's going to put you in a better position career-wise, absolutely. But what I'm really getting at is the things that you and I have learned up until this point in life. See, we've received an education whether or not we asked for it. We've been educated. And depending on how you grew up, that's going to depend how your schooling was, how your education was, and in what position that puts you in today. I am where I am from the choices that I made, and the choices that I made have come from my perspective. They've come from how I've seen the world, how I have observed things. And one thing that I've learned is this: in order for me to see things different, I have to become different. So let me give you some helpful tips. Number one, the first thing we have to do if we want to become educated men, we want to increase our education. First thing we have to do is we have to recognize that what we've been doing up to this point has worked to get us to this point. And if we want to get beyond this, we're going to have to learn some different things. I'm not saying you have to throw it all away, right? I went to college, picked up my bachelor's degree, I earned my master's degree. I'm proud of those accomplishments. I wish that I could say that was the end all be all. Now all my dreams have come true and every problem has been solved. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works at all. We can be proud of what has worked for us up to this point, but make no mistake, if we want to get further, we're going to have to learn some new things. That's the first thing we have to do. Second thing we have to do is we have to find out what are the things that need to be unlearned. Now, I remember when I was a delivery driver, one of the most important things to do when you're loading up a vehicle, you're loading up a truck full of freight, is how you're positioning that freight to get as much as possible into the back of that truck. In some instances, there were a number of things that had to get in there. So we had to figure it out while we were loading the truck. One of the things that we used to do is we'd create like this wall, right, of these huge boxes. And then all the smaller boxes, we would just toss them over that wall. Why? Why would we do that? Because if you just try to stack the smaller boxes along with the big boxes, they just get in the way. They mess up your flow. That's kind of how it goes with unlearning. We've got a bunch of stuff in our minds, in our hearts, in our spirit. A bunch of things that have taken up space, taken up a certain amount of capacity. And in order for us to gain more valuable knowledge, more valuable education, we've got to unlearn. We've got to remove some of those things. Some of those things we've got to remove completely. Some of them we just got to put in a different spot. So number one, we can acknowledge that what's worked up to this point has been great. We're going to need to know more. Number two, we're going to have to unlearn some things to make room for the new information, the new education. Number three, we're going to have to figure out what will no longer serve us, and what are some of the things that we automatically do that are not going to allow us to go forward. I've mentioned this before. It might be with a life coach like myself. Although I'm not a licensed professional, I'm not a counselor. So if that's someone you need to go see, if you need to go speak with someone, you need to talk to a therapist, you need to get some professional counseling to find out what are the patterns, what are the things that we saw, what are the things that we learned, what are the things that we became educated with that we've got to recognize, we've got to stop doing in order for us to get beyond where we're at. I got to say, this is probably the hardest part. Because sometimes we don't want to recognize, we don't want to admit what's wrong with us as men. We don't want to admit that maybe the way we approach certain things, maybe our perspective on certain things is just completely wrong. I'm telling you right now, if we want a proper education, and I mean an education that's going to allow us to get further than we are at the moment, we're going to have to acknowledge, we're going to have to unlearn, we're going to have to get to the bottom of what has contributed to who we are today and how to fix some of the things that need to be fixed. And if I can help you, I'm here for you. Click the link. Let's set up a 30-minute intro call. I'm available.